All right, next up, we are going to be demoing AlloOS. The idea behind AlloOS is to provide a launchpad through which you can launch many different types of capital allocation mechanisms. So we envision a future in which there's a plurality of capital allocations: quadratic funding, retro funding, cookie jar, deep funding. I could go on probably for the rest of the day, but I'll spare you that. And we'll get into the demo of AlloOS, which is one interface for launching many different capital allocation mechanisms. Give it up for Tim.
Hey. Yeah, so it's kind of going through the flow here where it will I kind of a few like preset prompts. And for this first one, it is kind of wanting the prompter wants a QF round on optimism, and it has a few other characteristics. And then in the back end, it's checking what if there's any clues on what chain they want it deployed to, and trying to find like the funding mechanism that's in the prompt. So in here, it actually it went in and kind of generated all the inputs needed to spin up a Allo QF round. And then you can go in and kind of edit them for whatever is needed. And yeah, from here it should, you can just write the round on chain. And in the back end, there's trying to create like an easy plugin interface for developers to PR in and hopefully kind of automate that as much as possible with AI. Currently, it's just using SDKs. And here it's like another prompt where OX splits is one of our plugins. So here it's like looking at the chain and then trying to determine based on the prompt what mechanism to use. So it found splits. And there's 3 addresses in the prompt. And so it split it evenly and gave a little bit to the splits team. And then you should just be able to write that on chain. And then there's one more flow. So if you were like, if you're kind of prompting towards a mechanism that we don't support yet, like giving coffee away, it should determine that, and then it kind of pushes you onto just a regular chat interface that is trained on the Allo book. So you can kind of ask it questions, and hopefully it'll point you back towards a mechanism that we support. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Tim. So AlloOS is meant to be one launchpad where you can launch many different types of capital allocation mechanisms. And maybe one day we'll get it to a level where you can just go to it and tell it your problems, and it'll suggest ways that you can solve them using on-chain capital allocation. So basically one interface that you as a developer can build a plugin for your crowdfunding platform into, and you get distribution in exchange for building it in there. So any questions for Tim? Monty, go ahead.
Direct funding, quadratic funding, and OX splits. And Carl's PRing in Gnosis Safe.
Wait, so he's PRing it in. That means that it can accept PRs from external developers?
Yep.
Rhetorical question. Yeah, so the idea is to eventually encompass all the different things that are built in the ecosystem. We know that we can't build the future of capital allocation alone, and by being friendly with other developers, then we're going to be able to encompass all the different possibilities. You have a question. Go ahead. So the question was, what do we train this on? What is the training data? Maybe you answer, what is the training data now, and I'll talk about training data in the future.
Yeah, so I just pulled in each like plugin has I pulled in like kind of relevant documentation, and then whenever it's prompting to figure out the mechanism, it has like representations of each mechanism.
Yeah, and then the Allo network has written 2 books about on-chain capital allocation. The plan is to eventually put those in there and ingest a bunch of information about a bridge between problems and how capital allocation can solve them. So it's an exciting to be able to build a bridge between those things and just easily guide the user towards what mechanisms can solve their problems. Well, I think that's all the time we have for AlloOS. Give it up for Tim. All right. You can vote for AlloOS or any of the other demos that we've seen today using Allo IRL. The dashboard back there. As Tim was presenting, I saw some confetti go up and people were voting, so thank you for giving us your feedback about what capital allocation mechanisms you like. Has everyone been onboarded into Allo IRL? Do you guys all have it on your phone? No? Okay, John, maybe if we just want to pass around the cards for Allo IRL so that people can vote as they're seeing the demos. Take puff, puff, pass. Vote, vote, pass.